Niall.
Well, time's running short, so I'll say two things rather than 10. Nine and a half. The first is that, of course, the most new thing about this war is the role that technology is playing, and it would be absurd not to mention that. Think not just of the drones that have been so decisive in the battlefield, but think of the role Starlink played in keeping Ukraine online at a critical juncture in the war. And so future historians will say, in many ways, this was the first time that a satellite war happened, where both sides were highly reliant on satellite information and then the technology that you use to apply it on the battlefield. And here's another reason why Ukraine should have hope, because of the nature of Western sanctions, soon Russia will not be able to wage that kind of war, because it's the slow burn of the sanctions that cut Russia off from semiconductors and other sophisticated technology that condemn Putin to fighting a 20th century war increasingly over time. And he will continue to be fighting against a 21st century adversary as long as Western resolve holds, and particularly as long as the United States makes systems like HIMARS available. Note to Americans present, not enough yet. We have delivered enough of this kind of weaponry to Ukraine to not lose. We have not delivered enough yet for Ukraine to win that war. And that is probably the most important thing that should be said, and said again and again at this meeting. And the second thing I'll say briefly, this is the first hot war of Cold War II. And in Cold War II, China's the senior partner and Russia's the junior partner, where it was the other way around in Cold War I. And what's interesting about this classically Cold War conflict, which the United States is essentially waging as a proxy war, is that China is not supporting Russia in a meaningful way, militarily or economically. That's perhaps the single most important thing that is going to decide the outcome. If China had decided that it was worth backing Putin to the point of violating American sanctions and incurring secondary sanctions, we would be in a completely different place. But the truth of the matter is that when Jake Sullivan said to Wang Jiechi, these are the entities we will sanction if you supply Russia, the Chinese backed down. And that is why I think, more than anything else, this first hot war of Cold War II will be won by the Western side and therefore by Ukraine.